What role does leadership have in creating a culture of innovation in an organization? Whether they're a startup or a big organization, what role does leadership have?
The challenge, or rather the biggest element of innovation, is that you have to make a lot of people believe in a radical change that you're trying to bring into a structure or the way of doing things. And you also want them to follow it, follow you along that direction, build along with you, and then deliver to it. Most of these people are very keen observers, right? So they observe the market, they observe the system, they create inferences and observations from things the way it is before they could even come forward and say that this is what I'm changing. And the second and very interesting element is that these are people who ask questions that are uncomfortable, right? So these are the people who bring up questions that are not so nice for discussion, right? They provoke, or rather they try and ask those questions that makes you feel uncomfortable, and those are the questions that matters the most to kickstart that spark of innovation, right? Another one that I've always been impressed to know about is people who are having the capability to look outside of their standard place of work or organization or the domain of business. Some of the biggest innovators or amazing founders that I've spoken with often bring their inspiration from a different line of business. Nothing that has got to do with what they're delivering, what they're doing right now, but the inspiration kickstarts from a place that is far outside their immediate spectrum of understanding. They talk to people who are not in the same school of thought with them. And that brings an amazing amount of inspiration. So these are people who look outside. And the last one that I've often noticed is that people who lead innovation, or people who are in the sense of innovative leadership, has this sense of building this capability called power of scarcity. And this is something that I've been very impressed with the way they use it, is that not necessarily giving all the big guns for you to go and innovate and experiment. Oh, I could always write off a check for $50 million for you to experiment this, but I will start it off with $500,000. Tell me what you could do with that. And the way they push these levers so effectively, that this scarcity, or the lack of resources sometimes makes you extremely innovative as an outcome. And I think the Startup Nation book also talks a lot about this specific area. But it's beautiful how you could build amazing innovations with the limitation of resources, saying that if it's only this much that you have, what can you do out of it? So most leaders that I've seen who operate in the space of innovation, or rather who are seen or looked up as innovative leaders, constantly reflect these qualities, in my observation at least. So that's maybe a quick snapshot that I've seen or observed.